call the meeting of the UCHRA Board of Ministers meeting to session. This time we'll ask Ms. Sherry for a roll call.
Frank Mitchell.
Here.
Ed Reagan.
Here.
Alan Foster.
Here.
Adcock.
Here.
Josh Miller.
Here.
Jimmy Johnson.
Here.
Howard Williams.
Here.
Steve Jones. Stephen Barlow.
Here.
Stephen Miller.
Here.
Sam Gibson.
Here.
Randy Porter. Lauren Queen. Here. Jeff Mason.
Here.
John Potts. David Sullivan.
Here.
Terry Bell.
Here.
Ralph Shane. Judy Robinson. Gary Lowry.
Here.
Representative Henry Sexton. Richard Hall.
Sherry, you got a point? All right, you're good. All right, item number 3 is approval of the consent agenda. You have a set of those before you. At this time, I'm going to take a motion to approve that agenda.
Motion.
Motion made, Adcock. Second, Steve Barlow. All right, motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it is approved. All right, next is the UCHRA financial report. Ms. Ginger again.
This report is also through the end of June, and of course, these are not audited financial statements, because we are still in the process of closing out our books, and we are still receiving, accounts payable. Total revenues that we had received thus far is a little over $28.9 million, with total expenditures being a little over $29.1 million. And this results in a program match of almost $298,000. We have our program matching revenues on the right, which is $474,518. We also have non-grant related expenditures that has to come out of that, which is a little over $106,000. And then we have, revenue left at $368,402. When you deduct that match requirement, that leaves $70,417. Now, we are still receiving revenues as well, and so we anticipate not having to have a transfer from our transportation fund balance, but if we just close as of right now, we would have to, use $101,000 of that restricted fund balance, that's just for transportation costs. But that would leave us a net of $171,000 in excess of revenues over our expenditures. And so we do anticipate a substantial increase to our fund balance for UCHRA this year. A large part of that is due to they were eligible for an employee retention credit that we received the last quarter of the fiscal year. So that has helped them tremendously. Does anybody have any questions?
Seeing none, all right, I will take a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Okay, ready? Second. Secretary Mitchell. All right, motion and second to approve the financial report. Any questions or discussions on that motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, item number 5 is our Van Buren County Head Start report.
As you can see, the list of things, these are standard reports that we have every month, our financial reports. We also have, the eligibility training statement, which I think if you will acknowledge you've got that, and, you need, there's a copy, I think Sherry is laying there, that we would love if each one of you would sign before you leave, or just leave it laying there. That verifies that you have received, that training is in there included. And then there's also a grievance complaint policy, I think that they put in place as well. So,
Any questions on the Head Start report? All right, seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve this report. Motion. Ms. Warren. Second. Over here. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the report. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 6 is the CSPG update. Mr. Nails.
Good morning, everyone. So I do have dashboards, May and June dashboards are in your binder. Just wanted to point out a few things. We're almost out of our water assistance funds. These are not reoccurring funds. So as of now, once those are depleted, there will not be continuing. We have left those funds have been to everyone. We are also out of our community services block grant rental assistance funds, and we're waiting on THDA, the Housing Association, to finalize a new grant that's gonna help with rental assistance. So we're just waiting on that, waiting on contracts. They're still working with some of the language. We currently have plenty of LIHEAP, our energy assistance funds, so if you guys are getting calls to your office, someone having trouble, paying that electric bill, because we've been so hot, please make sure to send them to your county office so that we can see if they qualify for this energy program. I'm happy to say our commodities truck is back on the road. We had to have some extensive work done on that. So we have been able to increase our commodity distribution again. So in our smaller counties, keep in mind we're constricted by what we can get in our truck. So in our smaller counties, we've been able to do 2 bags of food and an extra item. In our larger counties, we've been able to do 1 bag of food and 2 extra items. So we can definitely see that the food's out. 2 reasons we're increasing: 1, we want to get out the maximum amount of food at each event that we can, but 2, we're trying to decrease and not keep as much inventory on hand. That makes it a lot easier, make sure that our food's going out in a timely manner and it's not leaving so much inventory in our warehouse. So any questions on our dashboards? I think those have just been, running smooth. The next thing I did want to talk about was the Child and Adult Care Food Program that Mark had referenced in the UCDD meeting. So for years we have done that program, and what we play in is we do the training and we go in and monitor daycare homes to see if they're serving the healthy, eligible food. Once they do that, then we're able to reimburse them some of their costs to go back in their budget. So we were approached by the Putnam County School, the nutrition program. And they had asked if we would be willing to be their sponsor. A lot of times you have to have a sponsor for this program, and take over their training and their monitoring. And so we had talked, we thought, we're already doing this. This is a great way to expand and help Putnam County out. So then we started writing our application. You think that would be simple, right? Because we're well respected. Crystal White runs that program on the daycare centers. We're working with the same project officer to expand this program. In your packet, I put a draft application and budgets, but those are out of date now. We're going back and forth with the state. So far, I'm up to this much documentation just to expand and monitor and train with the Putnam County. So we're going back and forth. Some of the things, like for example, this wouldn't start till October 1st, but they're saying that in order to submit our application, that we must have a signed contract from the school board. But their meeting's not till September the 7th. We've asked, could we have a letter so that we can go ahead and resubmit this correction? No, that's a problem. You've got to have that signed by the Board of Education. So a lot of the rules don't make sense. A lot of things that we're having to upload that they've had for many, many years, I'm again having to upload them in like 47 different places. But the biggest thing that we're working on is with that budget. They're wanting us to have backup documentation for the expansion, but we can't hire someone to go into that position until we know that we're gonna get this expansion. We can't order a cell phone until we have these funds, but I have to provide documentation of the staff's cell phone. So now what we're doing is just trying to take some of the documentation that they have accepted on the daycare home side and just state this is exactly what we would be doing on the at-risk side, and as soon as this goes through and we get approval, then these would be the charges. So we've been working on this for months now. One thing that I'd reached out to Mark, I think they have us classified a little bit wrong. In all of our paperwork it says a private nonprofit, and we're technically like the quasi-government with a public nonprofit arm. So I don't know if that, I know that some of you guys, we've had to reach out and ask, do you mind to give us your birth dates? They're requiring birth dates and different things on all the applications. So we floated a lot of these questions up. This is through the Department of Human Services. But right now we don't have all the answers. We think we have the application and the budget to where it's gonna be. It was accepted the first time, sent back with revisions. We also have to do pre-site visits with all the schools, even though they're currently under contract. UCHRA, East Tennessee UCHRA, had been monitoring and doing this, finding everything is good, but they're not allowing us to utilize what UCHRA has done while they're still under contract for the pre-op visits. So Beverly Alamo is helping us work on this program, and I will bring everything back to you when it's finalized. But we think this is a good partnership, and we wanted to work with the school systems. So that's where we are with our child and adult care food program, and I totally agree. The rules and regulations, in my opinion, are very, very, very strict. Not only for the providers, but also for us trying to administer this program locally. Anybody have any questions on that or anything else you'd like me to flesh out? All right, perfect. So the last thing that I want to talk about is our community services block grant. We've been working hot and heavy on that application. Actually, Jordan Harrell, the Assistant Director for Community Services, has worked on that. We've talked about the needs assessment and all the surveys that we conducted over the summer. But what we would like to do right now is just kind of let you know about the application, what we're doing with that. I'm going to read, if anybody would like a copy, I just had Jordan do an overview. Once this is complete, we'll send out a link, because this is thousands of pages, so we want to make sure that you have, we'll put it on our website. I can actually get Sherry to send you guys a link and different things. So one good thing with our community action plan, that's what they call our application, it's now going to a multi-year, so we'll be doing this every 3 years, and it'll line up with our needs assessment. We're very, very excited about this, because in the past, you did a needs assessment every 3 years, but you had to do an application every year. So we like that they're putting those together. So what we do with our community action plan, we have to look at the top 5 needs that come out of our needs assessment that we did in all of our counties. And so I'm just going to read through the top 5 and let you know how we're going to work with them. Our program is to fill in the gaps. So if there is already an agency or a program that is doing this service, that's not what they're wanting us to focus on at this time. So the first that came out was the need for higher paying jobs and more quality paying jobs. So we're partnering with the Tennessee Board of Regents to provide our internal in-home service staff with a modified training program that will better equip them to provide in-home services to our vulnerable clients, the senior community. But we're also partnering with TBR to assist individuals in completing a community health worker training program that's going to be provided at 2 of the local TCATs. So during this, UCHRA will be providing employment opportunities to the students going through the TCAT program. They would be able to work at, as a home care specialist, and we're hoping that this would allow them to learn, get that degree, also get some practical experience, being very flexible, so by the time they got out of school, that they could just move right into the workforce or stay with us. So we're pretty excited about that. And what we're working with TBR has stackable educational credits that they can continue to use in higher education. So we're pretty excited about that. The second need that came out was access to affordable housing. That's where we'll be working with the THDA rental program once that gets up and running to make sure that we're assisting to the best of our ability with that need. Another need that come up in the top 5 was resources for individuals who are homeless. So what we do with this is we partner with churches, other faith groups to provide assistance in preventing homelessness. Our county coordinators and county office staff connect individuals with resources, of course, in our office, resources outside our offices. We also participate with HART, the Homeless Advocacy of Rural Tennessee, and we're always looking and talking with our partners just to find those resources using UC Assist. So we're not as narrow just focusing on homeless, we're trying to find resources for every population of the low income. Access to mental health services also come in the top 5, and Volunteer Behavioral Health provides health services, and they provide some safety net. There's some other organizations that provide some safety net services. We have our transportation department helps get people back and forth to those services, and at this time we're not clinical, so there's no way that we would be duplicating. Of course, we do have CPRS, our Certified that are working with folks that could be, that have the addiction, but also just could have some mental health, components going on. So that's how we're playing a role right now with that. And then the fifth thing that came up was daycares and childcare. So I think you can see what Rosa through Empower is trying to do to elevate that need. So those were the top 5 needs. So something, looking at Empower, how Empower, is kind of transforming, and they have the navigators or folks that are walking alongside folks. And we're seeing that that's working so well because it is so overwhelming, filling out paperwork, filling out applications. We're seeing that in our local county offices, that's a lot of what we're getting. Yes, they're coming in to apply for LIHEAP, but they're also bringing in applications, saying, can you help me complete this application? Or they're saying, do you know where we can find help for this? Do you know what we need to do for that? So since our community, our CSBG and our community action plan is going for 3 years, we are taking the next 3 years to really train our staff to be more of that navigator, resource navigator to help people outside of our program. So I want to share just a few statistics and just a little bit more, and I promise I'm almost finished. So something that we have been looking at data and that we're seeing is, so for fiscal year 21, an average of 65.24% of the households returned yearly for HRA services. In fiscal year 22, that was 74.5%. And fiscal year, in between those 2 fiscal years, that's a total of about 68%. So what we're seeing is a lot of people are coming back year after year for services. Now we know some folks that are on fixed income, seniors, disabled. We want them to use that LIHEAP. We want them to use those programs every year because that income's not going to change. But as we know, we're wanting to move other people up that economic ladder. So what that data tells us is that we need to provide more wraparound services and supports outside our regular just emergency assistance and information programs. So we're going to invest in our internal workforce at our local county offices, providing them with more training and skills that can better equip them to navigate and assist people and family, not only getting them where they need to go, but helping them set goals to see what are you wanting and how can we help you set these steps so that you can attain your goal, whether that's a small goal or a very long-term goal. So we're going to spend 2 years, the state kind of likes our idea of how we're doing this, because what made us look at this model is over the last program year, I started tracking information and referral. And you guys will see on your dashboards how many calls, emails, and walk-ins we're getting for programs outside of our agency that we're helping with. So we're pretty excited about this, and I can't wait to see how we transform and look after these 3 years. So unless anyone has questions, that is my report, and I would like to ask that it is approved just to make sure that I can support with CACFP that I brought all of this to your attention.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This time, if there's no questions from Ms. Linnell, I take a motion to approve her report.
Motion.
Josh? Second? Second, Mayor Barlow. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any question or discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, item number 7 is our action item. Right?
For the most part, these are the exact same things that you approved at the development district meeting. There is one additional item that's listed first there, and that's our policy council members for the upcoming year. We would like to make one recommended change. You can see there on the list, the lady there that was listed first, she has been one of our Empower clients and just has not been able to attend the meetings. And we have another individual that we have talked with that has come through that program, but she's also heavily involved, I know, in like the Overton County Drug Coalition, a few other initiatives like that. And her name is Misty Pye, and we'd like to recommend that you approve this same list with the addition of Misty Pye to that list. And I think she would represent Overton County. She would be the first consumer rep there. But otherwise, everybody else would be approved.
All right. At this time, I take a motion agenda, the action items. Any questions or discussions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? All right, done. Program updates, Mr. Party? That's all we got. Do you have any executive director report? Unless anybody has any questions. All right, any questions for Director Party? All right, seeing none, any old business? Is there any new business? What about, is there public comments for anyone today? All right, seeing none of those, motion to adjourn. Motion. Motion, second to adjourn. All those in favor? Please sign your form.